Everything looks good. Okay. We'll do it live.
Do it live. Okay.
Maybe.
Live-ish.
The waiting game for this to pick up is excruciating. Oh, there we go. Now we're going live.
Non-sequitur. Your facts are uncoordinated. Non-sequitur. Your facts are uncoordinated.
Might as well just the theme is just commit. You know, we were already in the middle of it, and we just committed.
It's pretty rocking.
Whatever works.
Yeah, well,
we didn't see the whole video. You just got the sound because the video for some reason only played like
I
3
was doing
seconds.
my own dancing.
yeah, it's totally cool. Like I said, we commit here, and when a glitch happens, we grit and bear. So
Yeah, it happened.
I had a stream before this. Everything went flawlessly. So this is my one screw up for the evening. I usually don't. Dave is usually here to. Kyle thinks we can see the intro. No, I don't. I realized that I realized about 2 seconds after it clipped over, and I was just like, you know what? We're gonna commit. So welcome back, everybody. Steve, did you get to see any of the last stream?
I did. I was catching up on a well-deserved sleep debt today. It's raining really bad here, and the rain just kind of just set the mood, and I was sleeping for quite some time today. So I have not. So if you want to fill me in, please do.
Well, I was just going to see if you picked up on the Vigilant Christian news.
Oh no, I am not aware of anything with Mario. What is happening with my old buddy Mario?
Well, I don't want to spoil anything for everybody watching, and we're going to say hello to. Well, let's go ahead and say hello to Mike first, and then I'll let you know about
Hi, Mike.
Mike. How's it going, Mike?
Hi. Good. Rainy.
Glad to have you here. This is going to be a
Glad
good
to
talk.
be here.
Do you know who the Vigilant Christian is, Mike?
I do not, but I'm intrigued.
He's a old school Christian YouTuber, huge following, and for what gives me pleasure, quite homophobic. And some chats were recently leaked that pretty much point to Mario being involved in some bisexual encounters.
Of course.
Shocker.
So
Which
I'm
is
so
okay.
stunned.
yeah, no, it is. It's very okay. But it's
Hey.
just, it's
But
just.
it's right, because
Yeah.
it's always the ones who rail against it the most that have the pool boy in the closet.
Yeah, the thou dost protest too much. So if you didn't see that last stream, guys, go back and watch it. We went and covered the conversation back and forth in detail. It's very graphic. I'll warn you, it's very graphic. So just brace yourself for that. Yeah, it's very graphic.
Mario.
I'll tell you what, it made this atheist blush. Just, I'll put you that way. So hello, Steve. Anything you need to get out there before we dive in?
No, I think I'm good. I am going to go back and watch that though, because I don't really know Mario that well. We've gone back a few years, but he's always been that very boisterous person in the community that's just going after atheists, going after homosexuals, going after all these different targeted groups. But I've always thought that to me, he always came across as being fake and disingenuous and just doing it for the views and the money and the things of that nature. Because I never thought he was an honest guy to begin with. So if he turns out that he is gay, bisexual, whatever, it's not a surprise to me in any way, shape, or form.
Steve, it's not a question. The chats back and forth were very detailed and explicit.
In your expert gay opinion, He probably is.
It doesn't have to be an expert gay opinion. He literally said, "Do you want to blow my friend with me?"
Wow. No, that's. I mean,
Yeah.
that is what it
interpreted
is.
as gay. Yeah, sure.
That's very blatant. Tomorrow, just let
That's
you guys know.
extremely gay.
Yeah.
Pretty
Oh, I
gay.
mean, like
But hey,
Mario, just Mario. To let you guys know about what we've got coming up for the rest of the week. Tomorrow, big day. Trevor Valley and Dan, I can never say his name, Bidondi. They've been...
Dan Bidandi.
Yeah, you know him.
Dan Bidandi.
I know of him.
Oh, what do you know of him?
I know he can't pronounce the word Netanyahu. That's kind of the only thing I really remember about him.
I'm gonna write that down. Netanyahu. I'm gonna find a way to bring that up tomorrow. But him and Trevor have been going back and forth. And do you know who Trevor Valley is?
No.
Very famous paleontologist. He had a show on Nat Geo and Discovery. He's the bones and tattoo paleontologist. Big guy.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
He and him are going at each other on several different topics. So I asked Trevor, I said, today, Trevor, can you sort of get me a base topic that we're going to be starting with tomorrow? Because I know you're going to, there's quite a few topics. And this is what Trevor Valley sent to me. I said, just so we're clear, what's the first topic at hand? And he said, Dan's inability to form a rational thought.
That sounds about right.
And I said savage, and he said, we'll start with the flood, go through evolution, tack on some flat earth, and anything else that comes up. I'm starting off, first and foremost, challenging his research abilities, and I just want to let you know, I'm going to be drunk and belligerent. Well, a little more than normal. This is a grudge match, and I'm swinging for the fences, and every other sport nomenclature-based metaphor. So he's coming. Yeah, he's coming for blood. And Destiny will be back with us at some point. I put out a poll on Twitter and YouTube about voter ID laws, and if people thought they were in any way disparaging towards minorities. Very interesting results, I think. It was about 44, average about between the two platforms was about 44% say that they were. About 28% said they were not, and the rest undecided. And if people know Jared, who is on this channel a lot, he's really good friends with the Reds, Flat Earth Debunker. He's going to be taking the position that they are not. And of course, Destiny will be taking the position that they are. This is something that Destiny debates quite often. So I think that's going to be a really good discussion too. So I'll have more details once I hear back from Destiny, but we can look forward to that too. Okay, now let's dive into some QAnon and some conspiracy theories. Joining us tonight, we have actually the name is just perfect. The name is absolutely perfect for conspiracies. Mike Rothschild. Any relation?
Yeah. No relation. No relation. I try to use the family name.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
That's what you want us to think.
You're just trying to lie. You paid to shill. We get it. Yep.
Right. Because, if I were the member of a trillionaire banking family, the thing that I would be doing is arguing about this crap on Twitter.
It's a good
as
cover.
opposed to just, pulling the strings of
It's
the
a good
world.
cover.
It should be brilliant, dude.
On my yacht.
It would be the most brilliant cover of all time. Who would have think?
While using my name.
Exactly.
No, it's so you could sit here and say what you're saying right now. I mean, it makes sense. I bet that. How was Bilderberg this year?
The food was a little disappointing. Usually they do kind of classic usually, but they did a lot of new stuff, a lot of foams and reductions, and it just didn't.
Did
work.
Alex Jones sneak in this time?
We took care of it.
Good.
There were some protesters. They were, I don't want to say pulped, but I've been dining on them.
Nice, taking a Hannibal turn. Well, Mike is a journalist, a writer, a researcher. He specializing now in the whole QAnon conspiracy, as well as other conspiracies. He's working on a book, I hear, so that's exciting. So we're glad to have you, and I wanted to definitely tackle QAnon, but before we do, will you just give a little more in detailed description, an introduction about yourself, and kind of how you got here on this road, and how you found out about, or how we got connected, how you found yourself on the show.
I think someone on Twitter reached out to me about you guys and just said, hey, you should ask these guys about being on the show. And I checked out what you do, and I really think it's cool. And I mean, there wasn't like an audition or anything. So
we'll take anybody.
How did I get it. So I started getting into this stuff in college, when I kind of started realizing that there were these conspiracy theories, and the internet was just kind of starting when I went to college. Like that conspiracy theory community was just kind of building up a little bit of steam on like Usenet and BBSs and stuff. And I listened to a lot of Art Bell, and I really got into it, but I also understood that it was all crap. It was all storytelling. And I got really into it for a while, and then I just kind of lost touch with it, and you move on to other stuff. And then I moved out to LA from Chicago and tried to get into screenwriting, and it just wasn't, things just weren't going anywhere. I mean, I was writing a lot of stuff, and I was getting a lot of meetings, but you get a lot of, oh, this is great, we love it, we're not buying it. And I started writing for the blog of the podcast Skeptoid. Just once a week, no money, just to do it. And I found that I really enjoyed doing it, and I was good at it. And I just wrote more and more, and I started getting more into journalism, worked at a couple of journalism startups that, long story, I'm not there anymore. And, maybe about a year ago, just decided to try to make this into some sort of career, this writing and researching and freelancing and pitching and developing TV stuff, and I'm working on this book, and it's just, it's nice to be able to do this, because I think there's such a need for it, because unfortunately it feels like, especially in the last few years, but really more in the last few decades, our collective ability to tell fact from fiction is kind of degraded, and you have a lot of people who just don't have critical thinking skills. And you have social media platforms like Facebook who really give a platform to people who can prey on people who don't have critical thinking skills. So you get these insane stories that get 200,000 shares, and suddenly they wind up on your page, and your friends are like, oh, I don't really think this is true, but what if it is true? And there's just such a need right now for the ability to take a piece of information and look at it and try to figure out why it's true or not true. And so I think this is the right time to be doing this, and it's the right venue to do it, and I'm excited. I love it.
How far down the rabbit hole are you?
What I like to tell people is that I don't really hang around on like 8chan, because there's just too much noise. It's too hard to determine what is going to take off and what's just garbage. But one step, either above or below, depending on what you think, is kind of where I live. Like some of the danker parts of Twitter, some of the more dank parts of Reddit, that's kind of where I find the stuff that I write about, because there it has, at least, you can tell it's at least starting to pick up some steam, but it's not so mainstream that Sean Hannity's talking about it. I try to intercept things before that, and those things are going to make their way up anyway, because these conspiracy cranks have huge followings, which is really unfortunate. The debunking. Sorry, go ahead.
No, please. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh, sorry. The debunking of a piece of crap is never going to get the kind of readership that a piece of crap will get. But you figure that you can get it to a point where some people who are maybe on the fence about it see it, and they realize, oh, that thing's a hoax, or that thing is just a meme, and I don't have to worry about it. Mm-hmm. I can read this one article, and that's it, and I don't have to obsess about it anymore.
Did you say 8chan?
Yeah.
I've never heard of 8chan. What is
Oh,
8chan?
8chan. 8chan is the even more racist and even more disgusting version of 4chan.
Oh no.
8chan is
Yes.
where the 4chan people that got blocked from 4chan went. So
So
if you've been too
so
Yeah.
bad for 4chan, they kicked you into
Yeah,
it.
that's
so 8chan.
8chan is the porno theater that you go to when you get kicked out of the other porno.
Right.
8chan is. Would you say that 8chan is twice as bad as 4chan?
Unless you're a
At
flat earther,
least.
they can't do math.
Come on, come on. Okay, so what you're? I definitely want to hit QAnon. That's what you're in the middle of right now, right?
Yes.
So maybe that's a good.
Yeah, that's a lot of the stuff that I write on a day-to-day basis is just sort of dealing with these insane QAnon people.
Maybe that's a good starting point for us. Then why don't you take
Sure.
us through what QAnon is?
QAnon is a conspiracy theory that, and it's about a lot of things, but essentially at its core, it involves a person who is claimed to be an insider in the Trump administration, posting very cryptic, very rhetorical bits of information on 8chan. And so these people who found this person decode what these intel drops really mean. So you'll get a post that's full of these sort of rhetorical questions or these codes or movie references or sort of weird out of context pictures, and this group of other people on 8chan and Twitter and YouTube will try to figure out what it really means. And it's all of it is pointing toward this great event which they call the storm or the great awakening. And what this is supposed to be is this gigantic unsealing of indictments against Democrats, pedophiles, Hollywood elite, business elite, the Clintons, of course, Obama, George Soros, and that they're all going to be arrested in secret, tried in the field by the military, and either executed on the spot or sent to Guantanamo Bay.
Wow.
And that will usher in this great era of peace and freedom, and children will be freed from pedophile rings, and the banksters who control our economy will be banished, and there will be prosperity for all.
Well, what's so unbelievable
And
about
that's
that?
well, you know, I mean, I don't think Guantanamo Bay is that big, so they'll probably just have to execute a lot of people.
So where did this originate from? Like this has to, since it's fairly recent, because we're talking about Trump. This has to be, or it has to have like I would think a notable starting point of where something like
Yes.
this would originate.
Yes, you find with conspiracy theories that they aren't just made up out of thin air. They do take something real as a starting point and then jump off from there into something that's much less real. The first QAnon post was the end of October 2017, and it threw out this theory that Hillary Clinton and John Podesta were going to be arrested, that they were caught trying to flee the country, their passports were revoked, they were taken into custody, and that when the American people found out, there would be riots, and the National Guard would be called up, and Trump would declare martial law and pacify all of the people. And it was based around that really bizarre comment that Trump made maybe a couple weeks before that, where he had a group of generals in, I think it wasn't the Oval Office, it was one of the rooms of the White House. And he said, this could be the calm before the storm. And somebody said something like, Mr. President, what the hell are you talking about? And he said, you'll see. This is the calm before the storm. You'll see. And then he sort of ambled away. And so it sort of became like, oh, military plus calm before the storm equals storm. And actually the first Reddit discussion board was called CBTS, Calm Before the Storm. And then that got banned, and there was another one called Great Awakening, that got banned. So it started with this really weird Trump comments, and also with the ability to go on the district court's website called Pacer and find sealed indictments. You can see on Pacer where a district court has a sealed case. So it's sort of like USA versus sealed. And so you get all these QAnon people who go through and count all these up, and they're like, oh, there's 70,000 sealed indictments, and they're all going to be unleashed in the storm. And it kind of built itself over this period of a few weeks in October and November 2017.
Do you think that there's any way possible that this is really Ivanka Trump?
Do you think
I don't think it's Ivanka.
Well, do you know that supposedly they tapped her for like being in charge of like the World Bank or something?
Of course.
Oh yeah, no, she's like, I mean, she's like a minister without portfolio in our government. I mean, it's unbelievable. The origin of who is actually doing the posting is one of those things that a lot of people speculate on, and some people have tried to find out. There was an NBC News story that uncovered 3 sort of YouTube grifters who maybe did some of the first Q posts. I'm sort of weird in the sort of conspiracy debunking community. I don't really care who it is, because once you get past the idea that it's not somebody connected with Trump, because it's not somebody connected with Trump, nothing QAnon has ever posted is classified or secret or really accurate. He makes a lot of predictions. He does a lot of cold reading. So he sort of spams out sort of cryptic phrases that could mean a lot of different things. But once you get past the idea of Q not being a Trump person and is just sort of a very naughty boy, I don't really care who it is. The eventual identity of that person is never going to be as interesting as the conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, when the grift dries up, they'll go public. They'll write a book or something, or do a self-produced documentary. They'll cash it out somehow. But I've never really put any effort into figuring out who it is, because it just doesn't matter to me.
But is it Kofefe? Could that be a possible?
This person supposedly has top secret clearance, though, right? He has top secret Q clearance.
Right, it's Q clearance, which is not
government.
even right. Q clearance is a real term. It's Department of Energy. It means you know how to build nuclear warheads or nuclear reactors or something.
Sensitive nuclear material handling, right?
Like Rick Perry has Q clearance.
I have a Q clearance too.
I had classified military clearance for nuclear handling, which is the least of all of them. But we had some secret because of movements. But it goes classified, secret. Then you have L, top secret, and then you have Q level clearance. And then that's compartmentalized for nuclear handling and for other sensitive type things.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the Q persona takes advantage of the fact that Q clearance is a real thing. And you go, oh, Q clearance, that's like the top. And it's not. It's the top of this one thing, but that has nothing to do with what Q is selling, basically.
Why do you think people are so like willing to fall for something like this? Like, what's been your experience like going through these different sites? What is it about that story that people kind of hook onto?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons that people fall for this. The interesting thing about Q is that it's very much a prosperity scam, in that it promises this great event that's always about to happen. But with QAnon, there's a participatory element. There's the decoding of the drops. There's the research. There's the making memes. There's turning on your friends to QAnon. There's red pilling people. So there's an interactive element to it. There's an element of secret knowledge to it. It's not a big conspiracy theory. There's not a lot of people know about it. So when you are part of that community, you feel like you're getting in on the ground floor on something really amazing, and that you want to share with people. And there's also kind of this weird element of hope to it. A lot of people really have started to believe that there are these great pedophile rings that are enslaving children, and that there's these wealthy banksters controlling the economy, controlling their lives. And QAnon is a way that these people are going to be purged. They're going to be removed. The Clintons, who have done so much harm to people, are going to be removed, and Obama and Podesta with his Pizzagate stuff. They're all going to be swept away. So you've got this interactive element, you've got the participatory element, and you've got the sort of aspirational element to it. And for people who get really into conspiracy theories, it kind of has everything. It's got a community to it. It's got these people who congregate on Twitter and congregate on YouTube, and they share research with each other. And for a lot of kind of older boomers who maybe their kids aren't around anymore, maybe they've split up from their spouse, they're not working anymore, they find this community, and it's like, oh, people who are like me, people are asking the same questions that I'm asking, and it kind of sucks people in. And you the more you hang around it, you go, okay, if I were of a certain mindset, I would understand why this grabs people. Now, it's insane, and it's a fascist fantasy about mass murder, but that gets a little bit downplayed in favor of the community aspect of it.
It's like flat Earth almost. It's a jaded person's club. Is there
Totally.
is there a potential like, does the potential exist for a group like this to become dangerous in a sense, like the ideas translate over into something that could be dangerous to society, themselves, people that they're around? Like, what's the end game with QAnon?
To address the idea that there is a danger to this, yes, there is, absolutely. And it's one of the reasons why I write about it so much. There have already been a couple of crimes committed by QAnon followers. There was a big forest fire that was set, I think, over the summer by a QAnon follower. There was the guy who barricaded himself in his car on Hoover Dam, and he had a sign up in his truck with a QAnon slogan on it. He was demanding to see the Inspector General's reports, which was one of the big QAnon things that was supposed to blow the doors off the deep state. I feel like there's a real potential for this to get bloody, because ultimately what QAnon is promising is a purge, is a sweeping away of these perceived enemies of the state. Now, problem isn't the right word here, but the issue with QAnon is that that's never going to happen. There is no apparatus working secretly to get rid of these pedophile rings. So eventually, I really fear that someone is going to get tired of waiting, because QAnon is all about kicking the can down the road. It's always next week, soon, anytime, we're so close. And there's only so many times that you can do that before someone goes, well, I'm tired of waiting, and I'm picking up my gun and I'm going to the nearest Democratic Party office.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I'm really afraid of.
Where do they get the pedophile aspect from? That seems to be a theme that runs throughout in and out of conspiracy. You had Pizzagate a couple years ago with the guy that shot up that pizzeria, thinking that there was a child sex ring going on in the basement. The place didn't even have a basement.
Right.
That came from Alex. So where does that need to find these pedophiles inside of politics comes from?
That's become sort of the moral panic of the far right in the last few years. This idea that there are these vast networks of pedophiles, and they communicate with these hidden yet public codes, and they're trafficking children. You had the whole thing in Tucson last year with the guy who found the pedophile bunker and got arrested trespassing there. And there's this moral need to save the children, and it kind of turns what they're doing into a crusade. And when QAnon first started getting some mainstream attention, people were calling it the next Pizzagate. It's not so much about that anymore, but there is definitely that undercurrent of save the children, take down the evildoers, very biblical, very black and white. There's a lot of Pizzagate in it.
Are there aspects of or certain outlets, I guess would be a better question. Do certain news outlets like Infowars, those sort of places, do they perpetuate this conspiracy? Like, are they pushing it further? Are they talking about it? Like, what's their? It seems like that would be something they would pick up on and kind of run with because they're big on the deep state and keeping that narrative going. Are you seeing any of that?
There was for a while. It's funny because a lot of far-right infotainment personalities, even they won't touch this because it's too weird and it's too violent. For a while, Alex Jones was really into it, and Jerome Corsi was super like crazy into it, to the point where you could tell that he sort of figured out that it could be another income stream. You know, and he started doing like every day, started doing YouTube videos and live streams about QAnon and claiming that he knew QAnon. And Alex Jones claimed that he went golfing with QAnon. He's like, I know all the people doing QAnon. I know exactly what they're going to do. And then I don't know if he and Alex Jones had a falling out or if the two of them had a falling out with somebody else in the Q community. You know, those people are constantly having fallings out with each other. And so Alex Jones and Jerome Corsi decided that QAnon was compromised and that the original QAnon was not around anymore, and that now it was a new QAnon who was actually part of the deep state and was running a psyop on all the old believers. So generally, it had a spike in that InfoWars sphere for a while, but really now it's kind of self-perpetuating. It's because it has no real footprint in conservative media. I think Sean Hannity tweeted about it once, and really it's always like, what is QAnon? I don't know what this is, but it's all there are very prominent QAnon personalities who have fairly major followings on Twitter and YouTube, and if you want to follow one of them, your mentions are going to be a mess for days. But why would
Sean Hannity hashtag that though? You said Sean Hannity tweeted that with a hashtag.
Yeah, Sean Hannity tweeted about it once. I think probably just to attract that crowd, and because it was the thing to talk about, as it goes through spikes in mainstream popularity, or not popularity, but kind of awareness.
That's cyclical. I expect you to have narrative. one of those rooms like you see in movies where you have people's faces like up all over your walls and yarn wrapped around pins.
String board. Yeah. No, it's all taken up by like kiddo artwork.
Well, I mean, I think you're safer with the kid artwork. That seems to be more decorative.
I hope so. Yeah.
So what are the numbers of people that believe QAnon? Like what's the size of that group?
It's hard to pin down. Some of the more prominent QAnon people on YouTube, they've got anywhere near 200,000 subscribers. But the QAnon discussion board on Reddit, the one that got banned in September, I think had about 70,000. And then Q endorsed another discussion board on Vote. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Vote. It's the more racist and anti-Semitic version of Reddit.
Instead of Vote?
And that's only got VOAT.
Okay. Got it.
And if you go on the Q forum, there's a lot of threads about me. They like talking about me a lot.
Sweet.
It's kind of flattering. As long as there's no human heads in my mail.
Does it warn you, or do you get kind of weary being sort of a voice against that like Pizzagate, you could be targeted somehow?
I'm not too worried about it. I think most of these people are lazy boomers or internet cowards. I think there are dangerous people, but I'm not the person they're going to go after, because ultimately I don't have the power over them that somebody like an Obama or a Hillary Clinton or a George Soros has. You know, they've tried to dox me, and the stuff they put up is so inaccurate that I'm like, okay, guys, you have your fun. You're not even close. You're not, like you're nowhere.
The thing that I wanted to sort of touch on from here is
Mhm.
you've got these groups. I know that with last night we had a sovereign citizen on,
Mm.
and he had a conversation with an attorney, and I read out that the FBI has classified them, the sovereign citizens, as a domestic terror organization. Is
Yeah.
there a law enforcement agency that is actively monitoring these sort of? This seems like to me it would be something that the government would want to keep an eye on for the potentiality that it gets out of hand and becomes like you have a bunch of anarchists running the streets.
Right. There's not that I know of, and I'm not privy to any of that stuff. But I think probably it's a little too small for something like the FBI to worry about. That maybe they are, and I don't know. But I don't know that it's being actively monitored right now. I think it probably should be,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that there is a serious potential for violence in this movement, and maybe there is, and I just don't know about it.
Are there
Sure, there
any
is.
aspects of it that could be true or that are based in truth?
No.
None.
It's easy answer.
Sweet.
The thing that QAnon does is the same thing that basically a storefront psychic does. Throws out a bunch of vague claims, waits for a couple of them to sort of come true, and then says, I was right. It can't be a coincidence. It's mathematically impossible for me to have guessed this. There is
Mhm.
the couple that you'll see a lot when you sort of demand proof from a Q believer is that they claim Q predicted John McCain's death down to the minute that it was announced. And what happened there is that Q put up a post which was exactly 30 days before John McCain died, saying that McCain would be back in the headlines. Now, that could mean anything. That could mean retiring. That could mean switching parties. That could mean writing a letter rebuking Trump. He never claimed that McCain was going to die. So then 30 days later, McCain actually does die because he was really sick. And when you're really sick, you die. And all the Q people are like, oh, Q predicted it. Q knew what was going to happen. And he just got lucky. He throws 1,000 darts at a dartboard, and one or two of them are going to hit a bullseye. And that makes people think he's a world champion darts player.
That
And he
makes
just
sense.
threw a bunch of darts.
Are there any of the Q guys? I mean, I don't know how you refer to them, but the people who sort of put the information out there, are any of them known, or are they all operating anonymously?
A few of them use their real names. Most of them use pseudonyms.
Why would you use your real
So
name?
there's like, sorry?
Especially on 4chan. Why would you ever want
Yeah,
to,
why would you
to
use
have
your real name?
your name known
Yeah,
on
they
4chan?
don't do it on 4chan.
4chan
They
is the
do it
biggest group of
all.
trolls there is.
Yeah.
You
Oh
don't
yeah,
want your name out there.
none of them. I don't think any of them are on 4chan. I think the ones who have kind of cashed in the most on interpreting the QAnon drops, they do it through Twitter and YouTube. But QAnon only, the new posts only come from 8chan.
Got it.
See, when I think of 4chan, I think of a bunch of adolescent kids that are relatively bright getting together and just saying, how can we fuck with people? And what can we come up with the
Yeah.
most egregious, stupid thing we could possibly ever imagine and pull out of our ass that people will believe? Because there are people out there that are just very gullible, very naive. Like you
Mhm.
said, are not critical thinkers. And I'm going to say it. They are mentally disturbed people. They have mental issues
Yeah.
of some unknown diagnosis, but they are mental in some capacity. So they
Yeah.
kind of flock to this kind of stuff. So I can imagine them getting together and saying, hey, look, when WikiLeaks back when had released all the John Podesto emails, right? And they're like, hey, let's go through these. You know what? Let's try to find code words and say that this word that means like chicken, it doesn't really mean like chicken. It means underage
Right.
pedophilia. Well, that's I guess kind of the same thing. But I mean, they're taking these words and they're trying to come up with what they think that it means for this code. And I'm 100% convinced that they made all this shit up, right? Zero
Oh
factual
yeah,
evidence to any of this, right? But you still have
right.
people that do buy into it, right? They have this
Oh
narrative
yeah.
in their head that Modesto and Clinton were in charge of this huge, massive sex trafficking ring, and that Pizzagate was a legitimate storefront for
Mhm.
these types of operations and rings. What do you say to those people that just won't get it through their head that this is complete utter bullshit?
The ones that are kind of the diehard, the truest of the true believers, I don't think there's really anything that you can say, because what they'll always do is they'll just come back with another argument. You can debunk 100 things, and they're going to come back with thing 101, and by that time you're tired of it and you don't want to do it anymore. So those are the people that you just sort of go, okay, they're going to have to figure it out eventually. But you get a lot of people who are kind of on the fence, or maybe they've heard a little bit about it, or they don't really like Hillary Clinton, and they think, oh, she could be up to some stuff.
I don't like her
really
either,
trust
but I
her.
never accused her of that kind of crap.
Exactly.
Stupid.
Lock her up.
Yeah.
Lock her up.
So it's ultimately it plays to people's biases. They already believe that these are bad people, so the specifics of how they're bad people don't even really matter.
Yeah.
It could be their. That's why so many Hillary Clinton conspiracy theories stick, because if you think she's a bad person, you think she's untrustworthy and crooked, you're going to believe anything about her that reinforces that. It doesn't matter what it is.
Do you see this as something that is going to continue to gain more traction and popularity, or something that's probably going to fizzle out? Maybe by 2020 when he runs again.
Every time I've thought it was about to fizzle out, it didn't. The interesting thing about the Q persona is that they are now taking more and more time between posts. So you will now go a week without any Q posts, and then they'll drop 5 or 6 things in a day. And whoever's doing the posting is actually very good at this, because they understand how to manipulate people, and they understand how to keep people coming back for more. They understand encouragement and positive reinforcement. So it's not going to go away as long as whoever posts this Q comes back once a week and does a few posts and some cryptic crap and highlights a few questions on 8chan and says, you're on the right track, Patriot, and I see you, VIP, and then once in a while Q will also post in this other persona called Q plus, and the Q people have decided that Q plus is Donald Trump directly speaking to them.
Ah.
So you got Trump speaking to them through this other persona, speaking to them through his misspellings and his weird grammar fuck ups in his tweets.
Now that would be cool if true.
It would, but it's not. It's just like they think
cool,
that when he capitalizes the FF in fast food, that actually means false flag, and that they understand that, and he's speaking to them. Oh, it's a whole argle bargle of crazy.
I'm convinced that Trump is really a very bright, well-spoken man from England, and that's not my joke. That's a Jim Jeffries joke. But it goes to the point where, what do you say to people who say that Trump is playing? What's the term that they use? 20-out chess, I think. That
like 3D chess.
Yeah, all of these things are. He knows exactly what he's doing in these situations, and causing these things to happen on purpose because he's some
evil genius.
Evil genius in the background.
I would say that I would ask, have you seen him be president? Does he really look like somebody who knows what they're doing?
No one can fake being stupid that well.
No one can fake being that incompetent.
He knows all the best words.
Right. And the thing is, like, oh, he's using Twitter to put out these complicated codes, and he's posting on 8chan with, secretly. He's computer illiterate. We know that about him. He doesn't know how to send email.
Wrong.
So
Fake news.
the idea. Sorry.
I said fake news. Wrong.
Yeah.
Such a nasty woman.
So the idea that he's doing all these things, it runs counter to everything that we know about him. So not only is it would it be this hidden persona, but it's also this cover up. And it's like, this administration is not good at covering things up.
Mm-mm.
They're really bad at it.
He would have had to act this way his entire life, because you can go
Right.
back 40 years, and he was
Right.
not well spoken
Yeah.
back then either.
Do you think
No.
he'll win again?
I have no idea.
Isn't that scary?
I don't know.
You think he's going to run again?
Yeah.
Why would he want
I don't
to?
even know if he's going to run again. I wouldn't be shocked if he
Yeah,
didn't.
I don't. Why would he want to run again? Except the only reason I can see him running again is he's so narcissistic. He'd be like, "They loved
Yeah.
me. They loved
Yeah.
me. I'm going to give them four more
They
years
love
because they
me,
love
yeah.
me." Yeah.
But
I think, though, I really wonder if he is, because this is the first time in his professional life that he's, with Democrats holding the House, this is the first time that he's ever had anybody conducting oversight on him, and he's ever been accountable. He's not super good at it right now. I mean, you can tell already that there's a lot of stuff that Democrats are doing that he does not know how to handle. And I wouldn't be shocked if he said, "I've made America great again. I've done everything I promised to do. I'm the greatest president ever.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm taking my money and I'm going home. I'm going back to my gold toilet and screw all you."
here's the thing, though.
That's what I think he's going to do.
The scary thing about this question is, after he won, I thought, okay, the world wanted to watch, or the country wanted to watch the world burn. They're going to see it burn, and then they're going to realize the mistake that they made, and they're going to actually put somebody in there that knows what they're doing. And the closer we get to 2020, the more worried I get that no one can answer that question. Would he win again? I have yet to find someone that can answer that. Absolutely not. He would not win again. Because if he ran,
no.
let's say
I don't think he would win again.
I think he would. I think he absolutely would.
I mean, I was the one saying that he was going to win the first time. People were like, "Oh, Trump doesn't stand a chance," and I'm like, actually, I think he stands a pretty good chance. And as soon as I watched Florida go to him and a few other states, key states, it was clear they were going to win.
Here's the thing,
and people had already been saying he couldn't win. I'm like, "Oh, you guys are crazy! Of course he can win. He probably will win."
Here's the thing, though.
But the
Democrats have not put forth a candidate that stands out. We're 2 years away. Like, we should have already, got the hints of somebody that can come in with that personality and the brains. And there's just who.
Well, we already had anything. We already had anything but Hillary. Next time it'll be anything but Trump. Maybe.
I think that it's too early. I think right now you've got people just sort of tiptoeing into this. He didn't even declare until June of 2015. And what's really fascinating to me. No, he didn't
even have a
want to win.
transition team in play, which was by law. He had to have a transition team. He didn't know that he was like, what do I have to have that for? I'm not going to win. Then he won, and they realized that he was actually not in compliance with the law.
I never thought he wanted to win. I think he wanted to run to get the nomination because I think he knew he was going to get it. And I think he wanted to lose. And I think he wanted to take his grievances and his 35% of the country that would take a bullet for him and start his TV network and spend the rest of his life grifting off them.
Absolutely.
I think
you're right.
He hates being president. He doesn't know how to do it. He doesn't want to know how to do it. And so I'm wondering if he, with another election coming up, if he sees it as an escape hatch, if he can say, I did it and I don't need to do it again. I could do it if I wanted to. I could be president for life if I wanted to, but I don't want to. And now I get to decide who succeeds me.
So let's do
I get
this.
to be kingmaker.
Let's do this.
I agree.
Let's each come up with like our dream candidate real quick and say who we would if we had the choice to put up somebody to oppose Trump. Who do you think would do the absolute best job? We'll let you go first, Mike.
Oh, great. I was really story. He has a real ease about him. I don't know if he's got the legislative experience, but then that doesn't even matter anymore. I like I like Kamala Harris a lot, but I think there's a lot of the country that's really not going to be super comfortable electing a black woman to be president. I think right now we need to let them fight and see who emerges. And I'm just going to support whoever it is. I'm not, winning is the thing right now. Purity is not the thing right now. But I think there's some really good candidates who are looking at it, and then I think there's some people who really have no business running. And I think those people will fall away, and I think someone's going to emerge. And I think whoever that is probably, hopefully, gonna be able to kick his ass.
And
if he even runs again.
And the key is, guys, this is not the election to stand by your third party scruples.
Nope.
Please do not vote. If he runs again, if you vote for third party, you're voting for Trump. Like that's just,
you're voting. Yeah, it's the same that it was in 2016. I mean, I get that people didn't like Hillary. I get it. But at the end of the day, there's only two candidates.
Right.
You can wish and hope and pray that we had a third party or a parliamentary system or whatever. We don't. And if you didn't vote for Hillary, or you didn't vote, you know what happened.
It should have been Bernie.
So
it should have been Bernie.
No, I don't think he would have won either.
Steve,
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
I think a country that elected Donald Trump was not gonna be super into octogenarian socialist Jew. And I speak as a Jew who's halfway to being an octogenarian. I just didn't think that was gonna happen.
I mean, you're more than likely probably right there. Steve, who would your dream candidate be?
Well, first, Bernie. I think Bernie would have won, even though he's pushing 80. I mean, he would have been, if he had 2 terms, he would have been late 80s by the time he got done. So you're right. A lot of people don't want something like that. Now, I don't have a preference who runs. I couldn't care at this point. I mean, literally, I have no dog in the fight. However, I think that a couple people, Elizabeth Warren probably has a decent chance. I think that Beto O'Rourke probably has a pretty good chance. Cory Booker might run. You might have. Let's see. Probably the most likely is going to be what's his name? Joe Biden.
Yes.
Would probably be the run that's going to probably be the most likely fort runner. But as far as my preference, I have none. It's too early in the game to even.
I was going to say Joe, because I think Joe could. I have two dream candidates. I think Joe could beat him easy, because Joe is Republicans like him enough where he'd be able to pull some people from Trump. I think those people who are really iffy from Trump. He's not so far left that Republicans won't cross over to that.
I'll take Biden. I'm okay with it.
But the best president, I think, it's like my fantasy candidate, who I think would do a stellar kick-ass job, would be Jon Stewart. I think Jon Stewart would be amazing.
I thought you were going to say Joe Rogan. Why not Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan is a fantastic he would be a great press secretary. You know what I mean? Jon Stewart.
The State of the Union's 4 hours long. Yeah, high as a kite to understand.
He's a great conversationalist. Like his conversations, he's brilliant at that. Nobody can navigate through a conversation like Joe Rogan. But Jon Stewart, I think, has the mindset, the wit, the social issues are right, lined up there, and he's in the middle of politics. He knows it in and out, and he knows what not to do, because it was his job to call out those things. So I think,
but man, he would make press. He would make the press conferences amazing if he was press secretary. Because God knows we got to get Sarah. Have you really sat down and listened to Sarah Huckabee Sanders? Oh my God! It's just like you could just tell she hates her fucking job. She hates what she's doing. I mean, she just has never smiled ever in a press conference that I've ever seen. She looks like she's just miserable, going, "I just don't want to be here. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this again."
She works
like, when can I write my book?
Yeah, she's like, exactly. She's just the most miserable person. Because she knows she's lying through her ass every time she gets up there.
I guess we'll move on from Trump after this, but I just think he set a precedent for himself and his entire cabinet and administration when he made poor Sean Spicer go out there and defend the numbers at his
The first day?
inauguration. Like that
That
right
was the
there
first
was
day.
just
Oh yeah, was that the one
embarrassing.
where
You're
they had
like,
the?
okay,
Yeah,
this
he's
is
like,
this is
all these
what we're dealing with.
billion people showed up.
Period.
Like that many people.
It's just okay. All right. So let me ask you about this.
Sure, and
What
I
do-
got to wrap things up pretty soon.
Sure, sure. I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
let's end on this then. What are your thoughts about the Kennedy assassination?
I think that it was Oswald. I've always thought it was Oswald. And I think the thing that people overcomplicate about the Kennedy assassination is this idea that Oswald had to have had help. He didn't need to have had help. He was a trained marksman. He was firing at a slow moving car with no top on it at a short distance. And he still only hit Kennedy, with one real shot. This is a guy who should have been able to make that shot. I've read a lot of books about it, and I've heard all the arguments. My father-in-law was the only conspiracy he believed was JFK, and I've just never been convinced that Oswald needed any help doing it. And there's a lot we don't know about him, and the whole Jack Ruby thing is still very bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, there's nothing in what happened that day, in those shots that were taken at Kennedy, that one person couldn't have done with the time that he had, with the distance, and with the lack of protection.
All right, and
So,
since we
That's
Wait,
my
wait,
JFK
I'm going to
soapbox.
follow up on that. Why is it that Trump's still not releasing some of the data and the reports until like another couple years? I mean, he's pushed it back. I think it's due now.
Yeah,
in
there was the
2021.
file release, I guess, at the end of 2017, and then there was supposed to be
Yeah, and he
full
pushed that back.
disclosure, and then
Right. So
I don't know.
what's the
I
reason
mean,
for
maybe
that,
there's
you think?
stuff the CIA still wants classified, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, or maybe it was just like, this isn't interesting to me. I've already moved on,
yeah.
because his attention span is like a gnat.
But I agree with you. I think it's overblown.
Before we say farewell to you, and guys, we're gonna hang on after Mike has to dip out so that we can do the super chats, and I want to go through Mario's things. But to leave us off, Mike, can you give us, if there is one, a conspiracy theory that you do either believe there's some leeway towards, something that you might be swayed of? Do you fall for any of them?
I've always been fascinated by sports conspiracy theories, and I've always really wondered about Michael Jordan's retirement, because I grew up in Chicago, and it was like trauma when Jordan retired. And I know what happened with his father being murdered and all that, but I've always wondered, like, was there something else going on? Was it this sort of confluence of events with his father's death, and maybe the NBA commissioner saying, Michael, the gambling, maybe take it easy a bit? Because he came back and there was just no problem. But I've always wondered about that. And maybe that's just sort of a Chicago thing. I don't know. But I've always wondered if there was something else going on there. And there was some other thing that he just had to get out of the public eye for a while.
I didn't even think about
know what my
sports
favorite one
conspiracies.
is? You know what my favorite
What?
conspiracy is? And by the way, we didn't ask you the ultimate conspiracy. So I'm going to ask you the ultimate conspiracy for it first.
Sure.
Did we go to the moon?
Yes.
That's not the ultimate
Okay.
conspiracy.
Okay.
The Sphinx is the
No,
ultimate
Age of the
conspiracy.
Sphinx. That's yours. But okay, so my favorite one that I don't buy into, so I don't think for a second that I do, but I think it's the funniest. And if you look into it, it's like, holy crap. But Michelle Obama being a man, that one, I don't know why, it's just freaking
That's
riot.
a QAnon thing. The QAnon people are just convinced that
They did a
Michelle
great
Obama
job
was
of
born
that.
a man.
I gotta admit that they really did a number
How
on
dare
that
you,
one.
Steve?
Well, they're
No,
afraid
I
of
don't
her.
believe it, but it's
She-
freaking hilarious.
She's a smart woman with arms that could crush a soda can, and
She's
you
in
know,
good shape.
she's in good shape.
How dare you,
And
Steve?
there nothing frightens these people more than a strong woman.
Yeah, but that's the narrative that Michelle Obama is actually a man named Michael.
Well, when's your book come out, Mike?
That'll be I think October or November.
Do you have a title for it?
Working on some things, something with the word conspiracies in it. But I'm gonna. I'd love to come back on the show.
Yeah.
And then
Awesome.
once
yeah.
that's all a little more firmed up, I can plug it relentlessly. And can I plug my Twitter?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You can find me on Twitter at Rothschild MD. So that's ROTHSCHILD MD. No, I'm not a doctor. I've had QAnon people try to find my medical practice. Those are my initials. Super creative.
Uh, um, I have an idea. I've actually got a I'm speaking with a QAnon guy now through Discord, trying to get him
Okay.
to agree to come on. Would you be interested in coming on
Okay.
and having a discussion with him?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. We'll see if we can't
Awesome.
set that up then. Well, Mike, we'll let you go because I know it's late
Yep.
where you are, but we really do appreciate you coming by, and it was a great talk.
Yeah,
This is
it
great.
was a blast. I'd love to do this again.
We'll have you back soon.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, cool. All right, thank you. Yep. Bye bye.
All right, guys. I see asked in the chat if anybody believed anything strange or weird. We're gonna stay on for about another 15-20 minutes. But if somebody has a conspiracy that they want to come in and share with us, then tag me in the chat and let me know, and we'll bring you in. Just make sure that you do tag me so I can follow along there. What do you think, Steve, about QAnon?
Well, like I said, I mean, I think it's one huge troll group that seems to attract the people that either A, lack critical thinking skills, B, just like to troll, or C, mental, or a combination thereof. We see these things all over the place. With the advent of the internet came the dissemination of information, regardless of information is correct or not. And these people don't care about the truth. And this is the most comical thing that I find is that these are the people out there going, we are the truth seekers, right? We are the ones disseminating the truth for America. And yet they're the least discerning, least discriminative when it comes to information, least investigatory that I've ever seen, right? They basically will latch on to anything that suits their narrative with no validation whatsoever. And as Matt pointed out, that these people go in looking, or excuse me, Mike, go in looking for things that suit their narrative. That's it. And if you don't like the person that you're talking about, they're going to find things that, whether they agree with it or not, they think it's true or not, they're just going to put it out there because it hurts their reputation. Same thing with Hillary. I'm not a Hillary fan. But you really think, what rational person thinks that Hillary Clinton is in charge of some kind of satanic sex ring? I mean, that's just beyond stupid that somebody has that in their mentality. But yeah,
Now,
I think
Bill,
it's just a byproduct of the internet. That's all.
Conspire for Truth. I saw that you said you want to come in. I need your email address and tag me so I can make sure I catch it. Yeah. So send that to me real quick, and I'll send you a link. And while we wait on that, I'll go ahead and knock some of these super chats out of the way, and then I might bring up some Mario.
Yeah, I would be curious about that. Like I said, doesn't surprise me in the least, and that's what's funny anymore. Nothing it really surprises me, but that doesn't even remotely scratch the surface of being something that would surprise me.
Conspire. I'm not
But
seeing
we'd
you
like to
yet.
hear what he says about it. Do you have the super chats pulled up?
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure I don't monitor the super chat. I mean the chat, and see if Conspire for Truth tags.
Conspiring
Oh,
for
he
truth
said he
is
just
some
did.
earlier.
I don't have it. Conspire for Truth. Can you leave your email one more time? I don't see it.
It says just did.
Yeah, I just saw that, but I don't. See if you see his email up there. AC Castillo says, could QAnon be state sponsored in some way? Sure.
No,
Why not?
I'm going to go no.
Why not?
Because the state can't do shit right. You think they're going to have some massive information department out there that's just the whole job is disseminating false information on 4chan and 8chan forums? No, that's not. It's not feasible.
But wouldn't that be like the ultimate?
Well, of course, but that doesn't mean that's the case, right? I mean, you just can't say, oh, well, because it would be awesome to have something like that, or to be finding out that the government's capable of doing something like that. I would actually be impressed. I'd be like, fuck, the government actually got something right. I'm pretty impressed that they managed this. But no, I don't buy any of that stuff. I'm not a really big conspiracy person. I mean, even back in the day when people were like UFO cover-ups, I'm like, No, I don't buy in it either.
But you
It
are
was the SR-71 Blackbird.
Conspire. I'm still not seeing it yet, buddy. And I've been looking.
I've seen how bad firsthand the government covers things up. We were had disseminated information that was false when we had movements, ship movements, right? There was one time, we were actually doing this, and we were told the news something completely different, right? So the news was saying, we're doing some kind of law enforcement operations when we're actually carrying chemical weapons or nuclear weapons. Well, it wasn't nuclear, but we were carrying chemical weapons for destruction. Which we don't want that information out there because then you get Greenpeace and you get everybody else out there. So there's reasons why there's misinformation. So yeah, the government definitely gives out misinformation, but there's usually a reason for it. There's nothing to gain from this kind of a huge amount of massive undertaking it would take from the government to have this kind of propaganda out there.
Um, you don't really buy into conspiracy theories, but one thing that I have found that you do buy into that is rather shocking is Ouija boards.
No, I said I don't believe in ghosts. I said I don't believe in demons.
You were
I
having
told you that.
an out of body experience the other night. We saw your face.
I've had an out of body experience. I don't believe in out of body experiences either. I believe they're all internalized.
Speaking of
They call
those,
lucid dreaming. Yeah.
I have there's a guy coming on the 30th through. By the way, if you guys have something that you're passionate about, or a weird belief that you have, or something that you disagree with Steve and I on, we've opened up this forum that you can go onto. It's tinyurl.com/nonsecme, and you can fill that in and let us know, and we will bring you on the show at some point through our new discussional shows. The next one is going to actually be on near death experiences. I've got a guy that is going to speak to that. The next super chat is answering. Hey, buddy, how's it going? I would chat about presidential politics with you during your copious free time. Kyle, give me a call. I'm gonna take it as he doesn't agree with me too much. I don't think he does. He's got to be
Don't know.
Republican. You're Republican, aren't you,
No,
Sandry?
I don't think Sanders. I think he's more probably libertarian. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Sandring has a lot of different beliefs and different things.
Yeah.
Would have to ask him.
All right. So, okay. I guess he's not coming. So let's pull up. Let's pull up Mario real quick. I've got to be careful with these because they are very graphic. And
Now you're going to ask Mario about these? Has Mario said anything, or you plan to reach out to him? He definitely knows who we are. I mean, Wayne Fillmore had a debate on his channel,
Steve,
and he knows who I am.
Steve, can you confirm that I'm not crazy? Conspire for Truth said again that he's left his email several times. I have not seen it.
Left it where?
Yeah, I've looked
Conspiring
up.
for Truth. Where have you left it?
Yeah, I don't see it.
I mean, if you want, you can send me an email, and I can get it to Kyle. Send it to me first.
Yeah, I'll just send you the link, Steve.
He's
Here,
not-
and you can give it to him. There's the link.
Okay, that's my public email. Anybody can use it. Send me your information, and then I'll send you the link directly via that.
I wouldn't be opposed to having Mario come on here. I don't think that he will, just because he is now in the damage control mode of, I'm getting myself right with the Lord. I'm going to be taking a break. I'm going to be praying all the time. He's in that. He's got to really, if you ask me, and this might be the pessimist in me, but I think this is a last-ditch effort to try to stifle the hemorrhaging that's going on with his channel, because I don't know if there's any coming back from this.
So
know what I mean?
he does know about all this. Then I mean, he saw that what you did last night, or was this something that was from prior stuff that he already was aware of?
He knows that this was leaked.
Okay.
Yeah, he's done 3 subsequent videos on it. about being found, being confronted, clearing up what people got right, what people got wrong, and then what his plan to move forward is. So he's
Now, so when you say damage control, he's definitely not admitting to any of this, I assume, right?
I can't answer that. Yesterday I would have said no because I watched his first two videos. Today he released a third video, and I got right to the point where he started going into his childhood and porn. He started talking about the porn aspect of it and how he has a really bad addiction to porn, and we had to start
Gay porn, or just
he doesn't
because?
say. I
Yeah,
don't know.
see, I mean,
I'm not going to go
but if
so
he's
far
talking
as to
about that
say
stuff,
he's gay. He just he was pushing um, a I don't want to say event, but a three-way with his friend named Eric, and he had nude pictures of his friend Eric that he was sending to this girl. So he obviously, what are you doing with your friend's dick in your phone if you're not, if you're not at least curious. It just doesn't
yeah, no, I
accidentally.
mean, well, I mean, here's the thing: if you're going to be doing damage control, you probably don't want to be talking about any type of porn, especially if you're the vigilant Christian who's been, you know, a mouthpiece for Jesus for how many years has been on the internet, and yet I think he's totally full of shit. I think he's just, again, I don't think he even believes half the shit that he says. I
No.
mean, that demonic crap is just ridiculous, and I just think he's absolutely full of shit. Always have thought he was full of shit. So it doesn't surprise me at all if he has those propensities. But if he's trying to do damage control, he's not doing a very effective job if he's talking about his childhood porn connections.
Let me see if I can get this pulled up. Well, and two, I think that he took all the videos off of his other channel, his main channel. He took all of his videos off of, and he's now on this channel called Vigilant Vlogs. So this is his third video that he did today, and I'll go through a couple key parts here, and we'll just see what he has to say.
A response to the current online controversy that's taking place regarding me. And specifically in today's video, I wanted to be very open and candid and honest with you about the personal struggles that I've been struggling with.
Okay, so here he's...
That's it, my son.
Oh, here's
That's
where he's
enough.
talking about God spanking him.
He loves me enough to not let me stay in the dark. He publicly basically took Brother Mario, who was messing around in the back, falling into darkness, and he came and that's it, my son. That's enough.
I hate this dude.
It hurts, man. Brother Mario has spiritually a very red butt, you could say. But
You
it
are a
was
lying
for
piece of shit,
my
Mario. I'm
good
sorry.
relationship.
I
Those
can't
who
stand this
I
guy.
love, I
But watch
reprove
this.
and discipline.
This
So
is actually
be
a
zealous and
cute
repent.
moment in
And that's what I'm doing.
in this video,
And
just to
this-
break the tension. Watch what happens.
Well, I mean, I don't need to bring you in. I,
God's sending him pussy.
so cute. Sorry.
All right, so here's where he goes into.
The enemy comes and just boom, he puts me in the headlock, and I can't get out. And it takes me a little
Again,
while.
I
so
don't. He
my
doesn't
walk
believe
with
any of
God
this
has been
shit.
like
I'm
holiness and
convinced
walking
he's
in
a
obedience
total
and
freaking
freedom,
scammer.
And then he gets me captive again, and then I walk, and then boom.
Well, there's
By
a
the way, but it's one day at a time when it comes to addiction. Okay, and that's how I'm going to take this one day at a time. I have victory so far this year, but we're going to take this one.
Like
So
I'm-
he's
you know-
admitting that
These
he's
are
admitting to
things
some
that Brother
things,
Mario is
obviously.
struggling with.
yeah. I'm conflicted here
Blame
because
Satan.
on the one hand he is a on the one hand he has led this crusade of being homophobic and anti-LGBTQ for years, and I guess that's what is the difference between he and I. Like, I don't. I mean, in a sense, I can't lie. I'm human. It is kind of ironic to see this happen, to somebody that proclaims to have the moral high ground here. But as somebody that's also struggled with addiction before, you can tell that he is wrestling with something, some kind of demons. And I don't wish that on anybody, So I don't celebrate that he's struggling in that sense.
No, and I'm not disagreeing with you. No, clearly that he has things he has to deal with, right? But I think it's because of his religious upbringing that he has to deal with those things. And if he didn't have to, I mean, I'm not saying he's not religious, right? I do believe that he's religious, but he's full of shit when it comes to all his.
You haven't
other
read
stuff.
the chat logs.
Well, hang on. I mean, when it comes to Mario, he's a character on YouTube, right? So I'm assuming that he has some kind of religious beliefs, but I don't really care. He might be just straight up homophobic. I don't really care. He probably has, like I said, propensities for it, and that's an internalized struggle. You have more sympathy for that than I do. I have no sympathy for him because he's put out so much bullshit information for so long. I'm not empathetic to him at all. I have no empathy towards any of his plight. I get you do, and I respect that. But until he comes out and just says, you know what, all this has been total bullshit, I really have. I have no empathy for him. I just don't. I can't.
Here's why I do. I think that being somebody that's been in that position before, whether he was going to go through with that act with his friend or whatever. Obviously, there's a he's more okay with it than he's ever let on. That's probably the nicest way that I can put it. And I think that some people it's just beaten into you, like it was for me, that it almost turns you in a way. Let's say even if you're bi, let's say at the least he's bi, right? It's beaten into you through the religion that's something that you're supposed to despise and detest and to push away. I've seen so many people, in friends of mine and people who go to church that wind up being gay, they almost turn homophobic as a means to try to quell that or try to pull attention away from, the spotlight being on you, that like you could possibly be gay. And nobody's going to think that if you're, making videos bashing him. It doesn't make it right in any sense. I never was that way, but I think that there's just so many different levels and layers that it's not cut dry, and nobody knows but him. I can't see into the guy's head or what he's thinking. But
maybe we should introduce him to Matt Powell. Maybe they'd be a cute couple.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, it would be different. I could be celebrating this more if that aspect of it hadn't come out where he's wanting to do something, where he has that inclination. You know what I mean? That if he was just a straight up homophobe, that'd be different. But obviously, there's more to this than we can get through without knowing the full details.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. It's just you just got to see it from like our point of view, where you have somebody like this and people like Matt Power that have been so visceral in their videos on this stuff. And I get that people may have their internal demons that they have to deal with, and because they don't want to be in this case, like, I don't know if he let's say that he is it because he's having this disconnect because of his religious beliefs, or because he doesn't want people to know? He probably doesn't give a shit either way, and it's just an all act anyways. You have no way of knowing with this guy. I don't trust anything he says.
He says, I wish I could find that mark where he talks about.
Well, I mean, I don't need to bring you in. Very, very happy this has happened. I'm actually very happy, and you want to follow according to his purpose. I'm
trying to find. There's a spot where he says
deep moment. All disciplines. Mario has spiritually a very old patterns are not gone.
Well, he says I can't find I don't want to go through it right now, but he says marijuana is a gateway drug. Marijuana was the gateway that led him to all of this. And then he said, it was so funny because he goes, "You Americans think you have a good weed? No, we've got the good dope up here." Like, this is just not something. These are just not the words that you expect to hear from YouTube's forefront Christian. Oh
yeah, no question.
The vigilant Christian. All right.
The email he sent me a link twice. He says he hasn't got it. And we have 2 more super chats. If you want to
Yeah,
read
I was
those.
getting ready to read those.
Sorry, Conspire for Truth. We're gonna have to get you in next time. I literally
Yeah.
have sent you 2 emails. Second one has link second try in it in the header. So
I think I just don't think he wants to come in,
yeah,
which is
well, we'll
fine.
have to worry about it next time. It's getting
Less,
late anyway.
less politics, please. Don't go down the drain. YTAJ. That's from Gabber Novex. I don't know what you mean by that, but we don't count anything out here. If it's a topic that
Yeah.
interests us and we want to talk about it, we don't limit things on here. Nothing's off limits, and that's just how we roll. Sandrine Peterson says, I would say that libertarian would best describe me politically. I have some uber conservative beliefs and some uber liberal beliefs. I care about reason and evidence and am willing to change my mind if given a good argument. Well, I don't know what party you're from because no one ever says I'm willing to change my mind. So you're not a libertarian, you're not a Democrat, you're not a Republican.
That totally sounds like something that Sandra would say. That's what I was saying before. In my conversations with him, he seemed to have positions that are on the right, positions on the left, kind of leaning to libertarianism. So it was kind of like he had to like really kind of put his own position out there. I wouldn't be able to do it for him, but that makes exactly the sense to me from what I was trying to say. His positions were from his talks before in our private conversations.
Somebody just brought up, and we'll close out here in just a few, but I would love to, Iron Charioteer, if you know somebody that can speak on the stoned ape theory, I would love to go.
That
I would
would
love
be
to have a
interesting.
show into that. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't place too much credence on it, but if I had to pick a conspiracy theory that was plausible, at least Stone Ape theory is plausible
Well,
in some ways.
it just in a way answers that question of when we crossed from, you know,
Yeah.
the animal side of us into the thinking, because it's been proven that psychedelics do, it does things to
Oh
your
yeah,
brain. It unlocks
oh yeah.
different. I
Well,
don't. There's also a water ape theory. What does anybody know what the water ape
oh
theory is?
no, that one's completely aquatic ape theory.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, I don't remember the specificities for the aquatic ape theory, but that was something I know that was debunked, but I don't remember the exact thing behind it. I remember it was called aquatic ape theory.
I'll
I'd have
write
to
that
look
down too.
into it. I'm too tired to Google.
Yep. Anybody else got
It's all Googled out.
any last minute questions before we wrap up? Just to remind you guys, tomorrow Trevor Valley and Dan, huge show. They're already going for blood on Twitter now.
Oh, that's gonna be so awesome.
I'm hoping that we get to see Destiny and Jared on Thursday. I'm hoping that I hear back from him to make that work. We have Thursday open because of a cancellation, so we'll find something to fill that with. I'm hoping that it works out with Destiny. Then we got on Friday Dr. Grady,
McGrady,
Grady McGurdy,
McGurdy, yeah, McGurdy.
and then on Saturday, huge fight, Friday night fight. It's a doubleheader. We've got Dr. Don Prothero. I'm waiting for you to correct me.
Prothero.
Prothero.
Yeah, Dr. Grady McMurdy and Dr. Don Prothero.
Can I please get a Dr. John Smith or a Dr. Robert Thomas, please?
Why do all you smart people have hard names to pronounce?
Damn it. And so GE will be with us on Friday night as well for the doubleheader 2, and I think that's all that we've got coming up
You
for
want to
this
do a
week.
sneak preview of who we have coming back next Wednesday?
Do I know?
One of
Hold
our
on.
favorite guests. Who's the hottest guest we've ever had on?
Oh, did she agree?
We have it confirmed for that day. I think. Do I need to validate? It's on
Yeah,
the schedule.
just to double check.
Okay.
Just to double check. I want to say that the last time that I heard from her, she said yes in a direct tweet, and so I put it in there to hold that spot. But
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
just to double check, make
All right.
sure that that's the case. Mercedes will be back.
We love her.
We do. And let's go through and see what else we've got. Should all kids get trophies? That's going to be next Friday with SJ and Red Venture. So that'll be fun. And then our everybody's favorite ethno state guy, JF, will be coming in 2 weeks.
Oh, just FYI, it was not Conspire for Truth's fault, although it kind of was. The address he gave me, address not found. Your message wasn't delivered to conspiretruth@gmail.com, which is the email he gave us. So,
that's what I thought.
Yeah, sorry.
They and them says, Kyle, are you going to say more about the phone calls to you and Reds? Have you managed to get a hold of Ned? Yes, yes to all of those. I talked to Reds today. We're going to work out what we're doing with that. That was a very weird situation that happened the other night. However, he called the wrong one because I turned into detective real quick, and within 20 minutes we had who made the call, where it came from, and actually Steve was in a call with me when I called him back and left him a message telling him that we were going to be giving him a call back. He didn't answer the phone after that first go around. So yeah, we will be on that. That's a very funny story. If you're just now hearing about it, Reds and I got doxed and then called by someone that is not well known, but he's a douchebag within this nether regions of YouTube. So he's got to get his ass handed to him. No, that's all on that one though. Ned actually did get a. Let me just read this because it's beautiful, I think. Ned, we were supposed to have 2 shows with Ned. On the first night, we couldn't get a hold of him. The second night he was supposed to come in. Same thing, couldn't get a hold of him. Now, his tweet in a DMs back to me says, I can't possibly be a dick 3 times. Can I try again? So, I'm going to assume he forgot. I mean, he is 80-some years old. So that could be a thing, but he at least is trying to reconnect and get that going back again. So I think that's everything, guys. That was all of your questions.
Yeah, this was fun. I really never know what to expect in some of these conversations, and I'm always pleasantly surprised, to be honest with you. I don't think we've had a guest come on where I just thought it was completely boring. This was entertaining as hell. I don't know why conspiracy theories are entertaining, but it is fun to talk about them. Like I said, I don't believe in any of them, but if Conspiracy for Truth wants to come on another day, I think you said we had a day open. One of his emails he did get. The second one it didn't go through, but the first one went to his spam folder, by the way. So
he did get it. Okay.
I don't know, but so it's too late today. But how about whatever day we had open? Why don't we get with him and maybe bring him on to continue with his
Yep.
conspiracy claims.
And then we'll have the gentleman that I call him the incelologist. He has compiled the most detailed research I've ever seen. I've been trying to pour through it, and it's just so much. And he actually did a paper, it looks just like an academic paper. He starts out with his first statement, ends with a conclusion, goes through all of the data points. He actually went through each of our incel shows and were fact checking the incels as they went. The guy's just unbelievable, but he has agreed to come on, so we're gonna get him on as well. It seems like I'm forgetting one thing. Like
End card.
No, not that. Something I wanted to tell the people. Something exciting. Oh yeah, okay. I'm losing my mind, everybody. It's late. Thank you for staying up with us. Don't forget to go check out Steve's obsession with Ouija boards if you haven't already. That video is up. Go and look.
We're going to be doing more. We're going to try to contact a demon. Summon a demon like through a ritual. Yeah, cool.
Can you believe it? Yeah, Mario, if you're watching this and you want to come on and give us your side of the story, we will. We'll have it. Did you see the name Shannon received? The Crazy Whisperer. Yeah. Yeah, she's well deserving of that. All right, guys. We'll catch you tomorrow. Bring your oven mitts and your your lighter fluid and anything you want to burn, because we're going to be lighting a big blaze tomorrow. And Trevor Valley is going to be picking up that dumpster and hurling it as far as he can across the YouTube sphere. So just
Expect blood.
buckle up. There shall be blood. All right, let me find my end screen. I think I've got it. And
See if he can do it. See if he can do it. He's gonna get it right. I think he's gonna get it right.
I don't want to say
So
goodbye.
excited.
I don't want to say goodbye. I hear Sam Smith "Stay With Me" playing. Do you hear that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Good night, all.
And stop.